Question.
I do have a question. First of all, I'm very sad that you're not on the show anymore. I don't know what to do Friday nights anymore. Totally lost.
Come down to the bookstore.
Need to know is not bad, but it's not your show. I have a question. With your interviews, in the movie Inside Job, they talked about the, say, CNN specialists that come in from universities and things like that and talk about whatever it is they're being questioned about. And they reveal in that thing that these people are paid for a certain point of view. And that, so that the news we're getting from supposed experts is biased because it's bought to be biased. And I just wonder, because I know you have a lot of university people and things like that, and I would think it's not, but if there's any kind of payoffs from PBS to an expert that would come on and be interviewed on...
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. I mean, that is a pollution of journalism that's very difficult. If you all have not seen the documentary, it's available on DVD. It ran on HBO, I think. No, it ran in theatrical release.
Yeah.
It's called Inside Job by Charles Ferguson, who's a principal investor, a principal hedge fund manager who made a lot of money and turned to making films. He made a great film about Iraq, and now he's made one called Inside Job about how what happened to us in 2008 was the result of collusion between the regulators and the industries, and so many of the professors at business schools in particular were on the board of these companies or paid consultants to these companies, and they were just confirming the behavior that was bringing us down. And now when they go on political talk shows or economic talk shows, nobody points out that they were retained or are still being retained by the industry that they tend to be critiquing. PBS does not tolerate that. I mean, and I never would do that. And we make sure that everyone we invite on the guest, if they are connected with any institution, we check the credentials and we talk to them. We make sure that they are acting and speaking independently and not for some hidden specialty.
And can I follow up to that? Is I've been trying to figure this out in my mind, why PBS is so far and away better than any other news organization that we have on television. I mean, there's not even a second, third, and fourth place to PBS, and there just doesn't seem to be any call for it, demand for it, insistence that we have news that's news.
The reason, I mean, I was present at the creation of PBS. I was at the White House. My first portfolio there, before I became, against my will, press secretary, my first portfolio was domestic policy. So I put together the task forces in 1964 that led to the Civil Rights Act, Education Act, Public Broadcasting Act in 1967. And at that time there were only 3 networks, CBS, 2.5 networks, CBS, NBC, and ABC, which didn't even have a news division. But we felt that there should be at least one channel free of commercial and free of commercial value, whose producers and journalists and editors and others were free to be creative and to exercise their integrity without any retaliation or subservience to corporations and advertisers. And that was the whole motive behind public broadcasting, to give one channel that was truly independent, where the artists and the journalists and the creators and innovators could do their best without regard to commercial values. We're in trouble now because the revenue flow for PBS has been flat for 7 years, and more stations are doing underwriting with corporate money, and that doesn't lead immediately to a noose around your neck, but it can lead to the kind of self-censorship that is as destructive as a noose. And but still, my colleagues and the younger generations come along are fighting to exercise integrity. But that's why it was different, is because it was designed. You know, you can tell a lot about a journalist, a producer, an executive if you think he or she sees all of you as citizens wanting to be informed instead of consumers waiting to buy something. It changes the way you produce a program. I mean, I would never have gotten Bill Moyer's Journal in a commercial network, even though I spent 7 years at CBS many years ago. I would never have gotten this on a corporate network because they want to interrupt every 11 or 12 minutes with a string of commercials. They don't believe that people's attention span will